Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brenda O'Brien, and I'm delighted to welcome you here to the beautiful Euskalduna Congress Centre on the banks of the River Nerbion in the lovely city of Bilbao. We were hoping to welcome you in person, as you know, but that was not possible. However, it is a red letter day for some of us here in Bilbao today, because it is the first time that we are allowed indoors in a big auditorium, respecting social distancing, to witness this virtual online event, which is being broadcast not only across the European Union, but also beyond. So it's a truly international event as well. So for us, it's a day perhaps where for the first time in well over a year, we're looking around and seeing each other. All of us are masked, except those of us allowed on the stage. So it's very wondrous for me to look out and see some of my colleagues behind their masks. It's also a little worrying for me because there are some of them there behind their masks, and I'm thinking to myself, who on earth is that? Things have changed in a year, and we're all adapting to the new world. We have interpretation into 4 languages today, and all of you must pick your language now on your online platform. You can pick English, French, Spanish, or German. You must select one, because our interpreters will then accompany you as we go through the afternoon. We also have hashtags for this event if you are social media freaks. Many of us are, many of us aren't. But if you want to follow along, you can use the hashtag social rights, or you can use our handle at EU_OSHA. Now, later we're going to have a panel with a discussion of the current events going on in health and safety in Europe. And that's your opportunity as viewers to join in the discussion. You will see on the platform that you've just joined a box conveniently labeled question box for you to put your questions in there. So when we get to the panel later on, you can join in the discussion. All of the questions will be put anonymously to the panel, but if you want your name read out by me, then include your name in the question box and we'll mention it. I'll do my best to get to as many questions as I can later on. And I'll tell you when you can start asking the questions. That'll come later because we have our opening session first. What a crazy time it has been in the world of health and safety. Only 1 week ago, in the Berlaymont press room in Brussels, the European Commission Vice President and the European Commissioner responsible for jobs and social rights launched a brand new European Union strategic framework on occupational safety and health, just 1 week ago. And then with impeccable timing, today we are having the first international high-level event to have a look at the implications of this new strategic framework, and also to look a little bit at the role of EU-OSHA and the agency, where we fit into the jigsaw in delivering what this EU strategic framework hopes to achieve. There are many actors. In other OSH news, and there is a lot of news recently, it's time for reflection for us too, as our chief for 10 years here is preparing to leave us, our executive director, for what we can all only hope will be a very active, fulfilling, and happy retirement. But one thing is sure, and that is that today is her last occasion, such as this one, an international one, where she can host an event like this. And we're all delighted that we're here in a small group to be able to do it with her, even if the people she would have loved to have seen in person cannot be here with us. So without any further delay, I'm now delighted to hand you over to our gracious host of this event today, our Executive Director, Christa Sedlatschek. Christa, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Brenda. Thanks, Brenda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today for what promises to be an extremely interesting and informed discussion. The European Commission's new EU strategic framework on health and safety at work is finally here, launched just 1 week ago. It would have been such a pleasure to see you all in person, but I think that by now we are all well accustomed to virtual participation. Our reliance on digital technology has been accelerated by the pandemic and facilitated by increasingly sophisticated software. This is just one example of the kinds of profound changes we are seeing in the world of work. How we plan for such changes and how we adapt to them is a key focus of the brand new strategic framework. And critically, it defines the top priorities and actions for improving worker safety and health right up to 2027. But before I address the significance of the framework and the important role that EU-OSHA will play in its implementation, I would first like to welcome a number of people, and I would like to offer my thanks for their support of today's event and indeed of EU-OSHA's work over the years. Mr. Nicolas Schmid, EU Commissioner for Jobs and Social Rights, is a great friend of the agency, and I'm delighted that he will join me in conversation later this afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner Schmid, for your support of this event and for assisting EU-OSHA in its mission to make European workplaces safer, healthier, and more productive. I'm also thrilled to say that our keynote speaker today, who is up next, is world-leading professor for epidemiology, Professor Sir Michael Marmot of University College London. Sir Michael has led research on health inequalities for more than 40 years. Last December, he published a landmark report on the effects that the pandemic has had on our mental and physical health. And only last week, I saw that his latest work on the fall in life expectancy in the Greater Manchester area during the pandemic is making the headlines. I cannot think of anyone better informed about promoting health equality to address our symposium today. Welcome, Sir Michael. I'm also pleased to welcome the participants of today's panel discussion. This promises to be an engaging debate as we hear views on the framework from a wide range of perspectives. My sincerest thanks go to all the distinguished panel members. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what they have to say. Earlier, I made a reference to the changes that we are witnessing in the way we work, where and when we work, the types of work we do, the tools and technology we use to do it. Moreover, these changes are happening in the context of overall changes in our economies and demographics. This means that now, more than ever, anticipating and managing change is crucial, and doing this in the context of green, digital, and demographic transitions is one of the key priorities of the new strategic framework. Only by doing this can we assure the safety and health of all workers, all of the time. The second key priority of the new framework is improving the prevention of work-related accidents and diseases and striving towards a Vision Zero approach to work-related death. We have come too far to take our eyes off the goal now. Fatal accidents at work in the EU decreased by about 70% between 1994, that's the year when EU-OSHA was founded, and 2018. That's a huge improvement, but despite this progress, there were still more than 3,000 fatal accidents and 3 million non-fatal accidents in the EU in 2018, and over 200,000 workers die each year from work-related illnesses. Now, more than ever, we need to stay focused, strengthen our resolve, and reduce the number of lives being lost through work. Given the events of last year, the framework's third priority will come as no surprise. We must increase preparedness to respond to future crises, like the COVID-19 pandemic. Across Europe and the world, workplaces and practices have had to adapt to halt the spread of the virus. For many millions of workers, this has meant working from home, while many others have continued to carry out their jobs in extremely challenging conditions. Now, more than ever, we must learn from the lessons of the past and use them as a future-proofing tool. Never again do we want to endure the kind of turmoil that COVID-19 has brought and continues to bring to our personal and working lives. The success of the framework depends on its implementation at all levels, EU, national, sectoral, down to individual companies and organizations. That's where now EU-OSHA comes in. Facilitating action, cooperation, and exchange is at the core of the agency's work and is only possible thanks to our team of highly dedicated and passionate staff, our invaluable network of focal points, and our trusted social partners, as well as our many other partners in an EU-OSHA network. And I thank you all. All that is left for me to do now is wish everyone an enjoyable symposium.
Thank you very much, Krista. And I mentioned in the beginning that we have several hundred people tuned in from all across Europe. I would like to take a moment to welcome one dear old friend from across the water in the United States. We are also joined by an old friend of the agency's, Dr. David Michaels, former head of OSHA, of course, and now advisor to President Biden on the future of COVID regulations and worker protection. So it's good that we stay in touch, and I know that I speak on behalf of Krista when she says it's lovely to have someone from Washington joining in, even though it's extremely early in the morning.